I'll give you 3 principles that I've actually taken from the 911 field and used in my leadership coaching, my leadership for my company, which is why it was featured on MSNBC, Fox News, CNN. Because people said, hey, what you're doing, it actually works. Got a call from a sheriff saying, hey, I want you to coach my undersheriff. I said, how long do I have? He says, 3 months. Okay, so we got her there. She's been on the job a year. She's had a great time. She's doing very well. So you want to hear the stories? How many of you are leaders, really, in your profession, in your field, you love being a leader? Okay, how many of you are business owners? Okay, we got a lot of business, and you have people that work for you. Would you like to know how to free up the ones that aren't working for you? Imagine if I can talk people out of a house and out of a situation or into a situation, I can show you the same principle to use to help people free up their future. Go find another job. Yeah, this stuff works. All right, so let me tell you the first principle, number 1. And that is, as a new business owner or a new author, you realize that you have to take some risks, right? Everybody's been telling you that. You hear that. I just heard that at Author 101. You have to take a risk. Well, that's scary. And as Craig just said, that can be fearful. False evidence appearing real. It is. It's scary to take risks. All right, so as a 911 dispatcher, brand new, on the job, I took a call. Now, back in the day, Craig mentioned it was a while ago when I first started in that business. And back in the day, I didn't have all the cheat sheets. We didn't have training. We didn't have anything. We just kind of sat next to another person and said, this is what you do. Buddy system. So I took a phone call from a woman, and I'm just going to be honest with you. She said to me, very matter of fact, very serious call, okay, so stay with me. Very serious call that she came home and found her sister hung in the shower. One of my very first calls. I didn't have any training. I didn't know what to say. So I'm stuttering, okay, ma'am, what? She says, I came home, and my sister's had a long history of mental illness. They can't get her medications right. We thought something like this might happen, so I need some assistance. I said, are you sure she's deceased? And she said, yes. I said, okay, we'll be right there. So we hung up the phone, and as I was talking to her, of course, I'm stuttering and spitting and sputtering. As we hung up the phone, and we went on, we moved on, and my partner dispatched all the right ambulance and people to the house. And about 5 minutes later, I get another call. She says, yes, are you the woman that I just talked to? No, she's stuttering. And she's sputtering. And I said, yes, how may I help you? No, I've got to be the one in charge. And she says, I can't do it. I tried to cut her down, and I can't, the rope's too, and I can't, and she's starting to cry. And I said, ma'am, don't worry about it. It's okay. I've got help on the way. It'll be okay. She says, but I can't. I said, don't do anything else. I said, just watch for my officers, watch for the ambulance. They're on the way. They'll be there shortly. Hang in there. We'll be right there. I hung up the phone, and I turned to my partner, the senior partner in the room, and I went, oh my gosh! And he's like, what? What did the new kid do? And I said, I just told this woman to hang in there.
Oh, I missed that.
He says, you know, she probably didn't hear it. She probably didn't even notice. Were you there to help her? I said, yes. Did you give her help? Yes. He said, that's all she knows. She probably did. It probably went right over her head. I said, you know, you're right. Take risks. It's new. It's scary. You might look like an idiot sometimes, but I promise, not so many people notice. You might. They might not. Okay? So take risks. It's okay. All right, so principle number 2. I told you I was going to help you if you have people that work for you that maybe they don't want to work for you. And this is my key phrase, and I've used it as a CEO of my company. When people come into my business and they go, oh, I love working for you. You're doing such great things, and it's a great field, and oh, they love it. And I say, yeah, that's great. And this one girl actually said to me, Well, you're so positive. I just want that to rub off on me. It takes effort, doesn't it? So as a 911 assistant director in charge of my comm center, I had an individual who was, well, sleeping on the job. Shall we just put it truthfully? Sleeping. And my shift supervisor came to me and said, what do I do about it? I'm like, well, tell him to wake up. Well, we got people that call in there that need help. You don't want to call 911 and the person's sleeping, do you? Okay, so I didn't either. So as I said to my shift supervisor, I said, let's bring him into my office and we'll have a little talk. So it went something like this. Feel free to use it. I said, sir, to my dispatcher who was accused of sleeping, allegedly sleeping, I said, do you like this job? He says, yeah, sometimes. So I'm going to tell you, principle number 2 is all about empowering your people. And this is how it goes. I said, if you like this job, sometimes, tell me, when you don't really want to be here, what is that like? I'm bored. Okay. What do you really want to do? Well, I'd like to be an officer. I said, okay, I'll help you. I said, but here's the deal. I'll help you become an officer. I'll do whatever I can. Help you obtain your goal, reach your goal, become who you want to be, if you give me all you have while you're here. Fair enough? Because someday you're going to want that dispatcher on the other side of the radio doing that for you. Oh, yeah. So we went to work, and we started to talk about how the 50% of the time that he was there when he wanted to be there, he was good. The other 50% of the time, he was a liability. And I said, we can't have that. We can't put responders and citizens' lives in jeopardy because you want to be something else. I said, let's work toward that something else. And this is what I did. I helped him become empowered. And he moved out of his apartment back in with his parents. He went back to school. He went through bariatric surgery. He lost a lot of weight, passed the physical exam in Dallas, and became a police officer. Isn't that cool? Very cool. And it just so happened that years later, 2 or 3 years later, we had a dispatcher die. It's in the book. I'm not going to go into that. It makes me cry. But he called me up, and he says to me, he says, hey, boss, he says, I'd like to come back and help you out so all the dispatchers there can go to her funeral. Cool? When you empower your employees, you empower another person. And in the words of Earl Nightingale, make that person feel as if they're the most important person on earth. Nourish their self-esteem. Help them accomplish what they want to accomplish. If it's for you, good, they'll stay with you. If they want to be there. But if they don't want to be there, help them free up their future. Right? Okay, I promised you 3. Let's get to 3. What are we doing here? Third principle is for leadership, according to Dr. 911. You look like you know what I'm going to say. You got to have vision. People who have taught me along the way, my coaches, my mentors, the people who have been my heroes that I've looked up to. One of them lately is Glenn Morshower. Thank you so much, Craig, for introducing me to that man. Incredible, incredible. You have to hear Glenn Morshower. You'll know what I mean. He's just incredible. So vision. You have to have vision. You have to be able to see and anticipate. And I train all of my leaders, all of my instructors that teach for our company and train for our company, have vision and be able to anticipate things. This is what it looks like when you take a 911 call as a shift leader, shift supervisor. And back in the day, when everybody used a landline, one of those wired phones that when you call, the information most of the time popped up on the screen, and even more so, it was correct. So we could see where you were calling from. So I got a phone call, and it was from a bad guy's address. We knew that. We knew the history. We knew the frequent calls from different places. It was a bad guy's address. And I looked at that, and I thought, what the heck? So I picked up the phone, 911. It's my road patrol lieutenant. But I don't know that at first. All I know is I hear this little voice on the other end of the phone go, help me. Okay? Help me. I'm like, is this you? He says, yeah. What'd you call me for? Like, I didn't call you. You called me. Then it dawned on me, something's wrong. My vision at that time was, crap. He's in trouble. He's saying, help me. I'm all he's got. He and the sergeant had gone into a bad guy's house, and they left their weapons in the car. Now, we all know that officers have more than one weapon, but, when their obvious ones are gone, or at least, aside, they put themselves in a bad way. We discussed that later. They go into this house, and the bad guy's decent. He's cool. He invites them in. They talk. They're talking about an animal cruelty warrant. He's like, yeah. And then things go bad, and he pulls out a weapon. He pulls out a handgun, slams it on the wooden table, and says, you're not going out of here, and I'm not going out of here. But the really cool part was my lieutenant had his pager going off. He was being bugged about overtime and road patrol duties and slots to fill, etc. So he called 911 because the guy told him, use my phone. Don't use your cell phone. I want to watch you. Thankfully, he called, and I got him, and I had the vision to move into a different kind of question mode, the yes-no questions. And so upon that discovery of what he was into, how badly it was, then I worked with the rest of my team in dispatch, the rest of the resources out in the field. This is what you do as business owners, don't you? Critical incident, critical situation, emergency, something or other that may cause your business to either survive or die. It's life and death for your business as much as it was in that moment for my lieutenant and my sergeant, life or death. Find the resources, the right resources, match them together, make it work. Not in a Band-Aid scenario, because somebody could get hurt seriously. What happened was we got everybody in there, and we were very, very lucky because the officers did have to do a takedown, and we did have to do some wrestling in order to get the cuffs on them and get them to jail. It turned out very well. I was thankful. As my business, my company, my training company has grown, I have learned that the lessons learned in 911 have also transformed me into a better leader, reaching out to people across the United States and Canada, training businesses, training leaders. How do you move up? How do you move on? How do you make things click? How do you use your resources in the best way possible for success, for life? This is what I do now. And as Craig said, Dr. 911, it almost feels kind of weird whirling around in my head. Everybody likes the name and the branding, and we're still working on that. So please, I invite any kind of feedback on the branding and the little things that we're trying to do to make it work, because I am going to continue my work with Craig to make sure that my marketing of my book, oh, by the way, Craig, I don't know if I told you, but I did get picked up by the big distributor, thanks to Author 101, and now my 911 book will be handled by Select Books out of New York City. Coming to distributors, booksellers, and bookstores near you. So look for that to happen. I'm pretty excited. And it all is about the networking. It's about being here. You can do the social stuff day in and day out like Mr. Antion and be very, very rich and very, very successful, but he's also here doing the face-to-face stuff. So if you want to know how to lead, how to really sell, how to really move your product, move you further, I can help. Come see me, come talk. Stop by my office, I'll do a house call. The only thing I can do, because I am in the last stages of my PhD, and my mentor, my PhD mentor, is kind of coming on pretty strong about getting some things moving ahead. So all I can give you right now is my time. If you'd like to spend 15 minutes with me, and I really invite you to bring a challenge. I love a challenge. Bring me a challenge. Bring me some obstacle that you're running into right now with your business or with your people or your personnel issues. Just by being a leader, by virtue of being a leader. Come see me. Sign up for my 15 minutes. I only have, I don't know, they'll tell you how many slots I have. But come see me. We'll spend 15 minutes, and I promise you, by using your words differently, using your verbiage differently, just to kind of change things up a little bit, I can help you. You'll see immediate results. It's life or death, isn't it? Thank you very much, and thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
I am Dr. 911.